Shalom. First thing and foremost, I'm going to give all praises and glory and honor that's due to Yahweh Bashim Yahweh Shai Bahashim Rakakwadash. Double honors to the apostles and elders of Great Millstone. Peace and blessings and salutations to the whole elect. News in this gospel abroad, lifting up the standard of Yahweh Bashim Yahweh Shai, wherever it may be. This is another lesson through the Spirit. It says, holy shit, J.D. Vance said the unthinkable to Europe. As, you know, the scriptures say that the beast should hate the whore. And if you look at all the shakeups that this new administration have done, I think Trump has been in office, less than a month, 3 weeks, maybe, and some change. And yet he's already causing division among his European allies. As it says here, U.S. Homeland Security News update. President Donald Trump is reportedly considering withdrawing the U.S. from NATO, which is a step in the direction of fulfillment of Bible prophecy. Okay, so you have this guy by the name of J.D. Vance, which he's the devil. All right, but basically he went before the European Committee and he was basically telling them, like, look, man, y'all need to play ball with us or it ain't going to end well. As now that these European nations, they're looking at they looking at Trump like this dude is out of his fucking mind, man. He's going to literally drive us into World War III, man. Okay, because he's cutting off certain allies and he's doing things outside of the norm that's pretty much causing his allies to be on edge with him, man, because, you know, certain policies in the European Union contradict what they American values claim to uphold, like the freedom of speech policies that some committees in Europe was basically stating, well, look, you know, we want to ban certain talking points that make people feel like they're not, you know, that all-inclusive shit. You know, they wanted to continue to deal with that, like anybody that's speaking out against transgenders and anything like that, they wanted to pretty much ban. But Trump and Vance is coming back and saying, well, look, that's a violation of the Constitution. If people have the right to freely express themselves, then why are we dealing with that? Why are we bothering people for saying what they want to say? Even though it makes us feel some type of way, we don't have the right to infringe on people's freedoms, which this is all a talking point to get people divided. Okay, because the Biden administration was totally on board with shutting you out and censoring and all this other shit. But now you got this guy, the likings of J.D. Vance, under the administration of Donald Trump, and Trump sending all this money and cutting billions and dollars in government spending. Hey, people ain't too happy about that, man. Okay, so this is like a 30-minute video. I'm going to kind of play some of it, maybe 6-7 minutes of it just to get the point, because it is pretty lengthy. But this wasn't going to be a long lesson, but just to show you that the Bible is jumping off the pages. The prophetic scriptures of the Holy Bible is coming to pass, man. So before this man's presidency is up, or his 4-year term, there may be a total division among the European allies, man, in NATO. Okay, because that's what the Bible says. So anyway, let's go.
Affected by the evil inflicted on this beautiful community. We're thinking about you, we're praying for you, and we will certainly be rooting for you in the days and weeks to come. Now,
nice words. Nice.
I hope that's not the last bit of applause that I get, but
it might be.
We gather
because you're going to scorch them.
Conference, of course, to discuss security. And normally, we mean threats to our external security. I see many great military leaders gathered here today. But while the Trump administration is very concerned with European security and believes that we can come to a reasonable settlement between Russia and Ukraine, and we also believe that it's important in the coming years for Europe to step up in a big way to provide for its own defense, the threat that I worry the most about
Yeah, because Trump wants to give Ukraine back to Russia, which technically that was part of the former Soviet USSR. When NATO wanted, in fact, they wanted to, the Ukrainian army, they were trained by NATO troops, which NATO troops are like the most elite of the European allyship, so to speak. So they like, wait a minute, man. We set up proxies and we set up particular proxies on all fronts to destabilize certain countries to be able to harbor resources. But yet one of the biggest corrupt nations, such as the Ukraine, which has been totally hijacked by the West, now Trump is redacting that of it and saying, well, look, you know, he wants to make peace with Putin. And the West, they ain't with that shit, man, because they're like, this spells disaster. All right, which, you know, the Lord is just in all he does. So
Be Europe is not Russia, it's not China, it's not any other external actor. And what I worry about is the threat from within, the retreat of Europe from some of its most fundamental values, values shared with the United States of America.
He's exactly right. You know, Europe has ceded its sovereignty to the European Union in Brussels. So 80% of all decisions that need to be made about Germany are made in Brussels. These countries have lost their sovereignty. And President Trump has said, we are, instead of dealing with the European Union in our negotiations, we're going to deal with each of these countries individually because we believe you guys are individual countries. You've given up your sovereignty to this basically unelected globalist cabal that sits in Belgium. And that is really the cancer that he's talking about here. It's not from Russia. The warmongers think that Russia is going to invade Europe. They're not. Russia is not going to invade Europe. Russia has enough land. They have no desire to invade Europe. And so really the threat is from within. He's absolutely right about this. He's going scorched earth right now.
Now, I was struck that a former European commissioner went on television recently and sounded delighted that the Romanian government had just annulled an entire election. He warned that if things don't go to plan, the very same thing could happen in Germany, too.
We should be worried about this. Several published studies have linked mobile phone radiation to cancer, the National Toxicology.
Now, these cavalier statements are shocking to American ears. For years, we've been told that everything we fund and support is in the name of our shared democratic values. Right. Everything from our Ukraine policy to digital censorship is billed as a defense of democracy. But when we see European courts...
Which this is not a democracy, okay? This is not a democracy, but this is a republic. All right? Democracy deals with people's rule, people's choice, and the people don't have a choice on the damn thing here. All right? So what they do is they come up with these so-called political regimes and election systems that people appear to have the freedom of choice, but they really don't, man, because at the end of the day, they put whoever the hell they want in office, man. So this ain't no goddamn democracy, and people are catching on to that shit.
Courts canceling elections and senior officials threatening to cancel others, we ought to ask whether we're holding ourselves to an appropriately high standard. And I say ourselves because I fundamentally believe that we are on the same team.
Yeah. So in Ukraine, when Zelensky, the little cocaine-sniffing troll, cancels elections, and we're told by Nancy Pelosi and Chuck Schumer that we are upholding democratic values in Ukraine by supporting Ukraine, a country that has literally murdered political enemies, journalist friends of mine who were killed by the Ukrainian government, and canceled elections, burned books. I mean, literally, that's exactly what's happened in Ukraine. So what democratic values are we upholding by having a dictator, cocaine-sniffing troll and Zelensky running the show?
We must do more than talk about democratic values. We must live them. Now, within living memory of many of you in this room, the Cold War positioned defenders of democracy against much more tyrannical forces on this continent. And consider the side in that fight that censored dissidents, that closed churches, that canceled elections.
He's talking about Ukraine.
Guys? Certainly not.
So amazing. He just said what I just said, which is, yeah, that's exactly what Ukraine just did.
And thank God they lost the Cold War. They lost because they neither valued nor respected all of the extraordinary blessings of liberty. The freedom to surprise, to make mistakes, to invent, to build. As it turns out, you can't mandate innovation or creativity, just as you can't force people what to think, what to feel, or what to believe. And we believe those things are certainly connected. And unfortunately, when I...
Yes, you don't like that shit. They like, wait a minute, man. We trying to silence people, but yet y'all trying to give people back their rights. What the fuck are y'all doing? These generals, you see that? These men are all got marching orders, man. And you're going to see when push comes to shove, shit is already divided down the middle. There's going to be a war, man. starting with these Edomites first, because once again, you can go into Daniel, the 2nd chapter, in Salakim Eden. He goes into the divided kingdom, which is America, NATO, and the EU, which America is part of the National Atlantic Treaty Organization, which is all essentially the same thing, man. All right?
Look at Europe today, it's sometimes not so clear what happened to some of the Cold War's winners. I look to Brussels, where EU commissars warn citizens that they intend to shut down social media during times of civil unrest the moment they spot what they've judged to be, quote, hateful content. Or to this.
Yeah, you want European Union telling you what's hateful content? You want these warmongers and globalists who pushed us into lockdowns and forced COVID vaccines on all of us?
Yeah, going back into, remember when Biden basically gave the U.S. sovereignty over to the UN, and basically they was going to be able to declare a global health emergency, and that basically by America being part of a, what they call it, basically foreign entities and foreign treaties govern America. So basically your rights as a citizen was null and void. But allegedly Trump came back in and restated that constitutional right, which technically when he went before the WEF, he was basically telling them, well, look, man, you know, we're going to be at the helm of X, Y, and Z. But Trump is still playing ball with him because he redacted. And now Trump is getting ready to push the M to the N to the R to the N to the A for Apple ordeals for the BIRDFLU, which shows you that he basically did a whole 360, man. So it's all coming back full head. He works with him.
You want those people to tell us what is hateful content? What is disruptive content?
Very country, where police have carried out raids against citizens suspected of posting anti-feminist comments online as part of, quote, combating misogyny on the internet, a day of action. I look to Sweden, where 2 weeks ago the government convicted a Christian activist for participating in Koran burnings that resulted in his friend's murder. And as the judge in his case chillingly noted, Sweden's laws to supposedly protect free expression do not, in fact, grant, and I'm quoting, a free pass to do or say anything without risking offending the group that holds that belief.
Hence draconianism, which is coming back in a big way. Sooner than later, you ain't going to be able to openly speak out against this system, man. So this, what he's saying, is nothing but talking points, man, to get people all roused up so they can come with an even stricter solution. Hence, order out of chaos, man. It's all part of the plan. This guy here ain't for the people. Now, he's talking like he is, but at the end of the day, they don't give a shit about your ass, man. All right? So this is the book of Matthew 12, and I'm going to start at verses 24. Matter of fact, 25, and it says, and Yahushua knew their thoughts, and said it to them, every kingdom divided against itself is brought to desolation. Every city, a house divided against itself shall not stand. And if Satan cast out Satan, he is divided among himself. How shall then his kingdom stand? So right now you're witnessing the ultimate division. The country has never been this divided. This is the most this society has ever been divided since its inception, even prior to the Civil War, man. So these people getting ready to lose it. All right.
And perhaps most concerningly, I look to our very dear friends, the United Kingdom, where the backslide away from conscience rights has placed the basic liberties of religious Britons in particular in the crosshairs. A little over 2 years ago, the British government charged Adam Smith Connor, a 51-year-old physiotherapist and an Army veteran, with the heinous crime of standing 50 meters from an abortion clinic and silently praying for 3 minutes. Not obstructing anyone, not interacting with anyone, just silently praying on his own. And after British law enforcement spotted him and demanded to know what he was praying for, Adam replied simply, it was on behalf of the unborn son he and his former girlfriend had aborted years before. Now, the officers were not moved. Adam was found guilty of breaking the government's new buffer zones law, which criminalizes silent prayer and other actions that could influence a person's decision within 200 meters of an abortion facility. He was sentenced to pay thousands of pounds in legal costs to the prosecution. Now, I wish I could say that this was a fluke, a one-off crazy example of a badly written law being enacted against a single person, but no. This last October, just a few months ago, the Scottish government began distributing letters to citizens whose houses lay within so-called safe access zones, warning them that even private prayer within their own homes may amount to breaking the law.
This is not a scam.
Oh, come on, man.
The Health Food Allowance card is available for those on Medicare.
Now, I lived in Europe for 5 years, and I can tell you when I hear all these liberals tell me, that they want to leave America because Donald Trump, and they're worried about them. They're worried about freedoms. They're worried about their rights. And I joke, I say, you're going to go to Europe? Really? That's where you want to go? Because you're going to go to Europe and you're going to find that you have far less freedoms.
Yep.
And the clamping down on personal liberty, the clamping down on the way you transact with your money. You can't use a certain amount of cash over a certain amount of threshold. You are not allowed.
Certain European countries don't even deal with ATMs no more, man. They got like different type of ATMs. They don't withdraw cash withdrawals. See, here in the United States, your rights are protected by what they call the Constitution, which they're slowly chipping away at. That's what the whole Nueve Once was about, to set up the NDAA Act 2, which is basically the right to declare every U.S. citizen to be lawful to searches and seizures and unlawful searches and label you the T word. Hence why they get away with all taking away your rights. Like, I've lost so many pages since I've been in the truth of speaking just the words of the Heavenly Father from the Bible. They've clipped pages for less, So yeah, this is draconian all the way.
To make certain social media posts. I have journalist friends who've received letters directly from governments in Germany specifically threatening them with legal and prosecution for speaking out and telling the truth about the Ukraine war. Like, you want real freedoms? Better get out of Europe. I'm telling you.
Naturally, the government urged readers to report any fellow citizens suspected guilty of thought crime. In Britain and across Europe, free speech, I fear, is in retreat. And in the interest of comedy, my friends, but also in the interest of truth, I will admit that sometimes the loudest voices for censorship have come not from within Europe, but from within my own country.
Yes.
Where the prior administration threatened and bullied social media companies to censor so-called misinformation.
And they funded them through USAID.
Like, for example, the idea that coronavirus had
which is USAID was nothing more but a front runner for the CIA. Huh. How about that?
Leaked from a laboratory in China. Our own government encouraged private companies to silence people who dared to utter what turned out to be an obvious truth. So I come here today not just with an observation, but with an offer. Just as the Biden administration seemed desperate to silence people for speaking their minds, so the Trump administration will do precisely the opposite, and I hope that we can work together on that.
And don't get it twisted. Don't get your hopes up, because those of us that speak our minds, they're coming for us. Because remember, Trump is planning on deploying a task force for anybody that speak out against the small hats. And by him making that statement, more people are going to come out and start speaking against the small hats and exposing who they really are, which is going to ignite them or incite them to make a move on us. So you see how it is? It's like a game of chess. They said, but yet that's not what they're trying to do. Okay, matter of fact, let's do this. Let's go to the book of Psalms 58. Hold on. Psalms. Maybe Psalms 53 or 52. Yep, Psalms 52:2. It says, "Thy tongue devises mischiefs, like a sharp razor working deceitfully." Yeah, it sounds good. But wait till you start speaking out against Amalek. That's when the piper gonna come down on you. You see? So it's a double-edged sword, man. They want people to kind of loosen the grip so people can expose themselves. That's what the whole goddamn thing about Elon Musk buying Twitter for, I think it was like 40-something billion, if I'm not mistaken. Now find out he has contracts with Visa, MasterCard, and he's turning it into a whole paywall now. In order for you to operate within that system of social media, it's going to be tied to your biometrics, which is what it was all about from the beginning. What are chances that a major technocrat is buying a major social media platform which claimed to accept people's free speech, and now he's tying it into these digital payment systems? Which, if you speak out against the system, then you won't be able to use their, you won't be able to indulge in those so-called benefits, or those privileges, as they like to call it. Like, since when traveling is a fucking privilege? It's a right. A right and a privilege are two different things. By right, I have a right to do something, meaning that that's my God-given right, and a privilege is what somebody allows you to do. So my privileges is from the Heavenly Father, not fucking man. You want to use this? You want to use this highway? Where your driver's license at? Wait a minute, man. I'm not operating in maritime law. I'm traveling. I'm not driving. I'm not using this particular e-way for commercial use. That's why you go in Ezekiel 28 when it goes into like traffic. That's going into maritime law. But it says, "Thou lovest evil more than good, and lying rather than to speak righteousness. Thou lovest all devouring words, O thou deceitful tongue." So it's all lies and folly and bullshit, man. It's all the goddamn lie. But yet, at the same time, the division is being created because, hey, you got guys that's up NATO because, hey, Turkey don't fuck with America like that at all. And they're already talking about joining BRICS. So that's part of it. But there will be a division before it's said and done. Mark those words. And we're witnessing it.
In Washington, there is a new sheriff in town.
Yes.
And under Donald Trump's leadership, we may disagree with your views, but we will fight to defend your right to offer it in the public square, agree or disagree.
That's an applause line.
Look at him. Look at him. Look at Esau. They're like, this dude is out of his fucking mind, man. Like, he's trying to undo everything we just spent 4 years trying to do. They're not with it. And what J.D. Vance is saying is not wrong. I mean, he's making valid points. Like, people should be able to say what the hell they want to say without fear of retaliation. They don't feel that way because it's all about control. All right?
Oh, you're not going to applaud that?
Now, we're at the point, of course, that the situation has gotten so bad that...
That's an applause line. I love that. Oh, you're not going to applaud that?
Now, we're at the point, of course, that the situation has gotten so bad that this December, Romania straight up canceled the results of a presidential election based on the flimsy suspicions of an intelligence agency and enormous pressure from its continental neighbors. Now, as I understand it, the argument was that Russian disinformation had infected the Romanian elections.
Where have we heard that before?
But I'd ask my European friends to have some perspective. You can believe it's wrong for Russia to buy social media advertisements to influence your elections. We certainly do. You can condemn it on the world stage even. But if your democracy can be destroyed with a few $100,000 of digital advertising from a foreign country, then it wasn't very strong to begin with.
Ouch.
Oh, shit. And see, guys like this dude, Clayton, like here, one sentence, he's talking about how Trump is bringing hell to the place, and now he's commending it. It's like these devils are fucking double-minded, man. And at the end of the day, all you are getting ready to fall. Because at the end of the day, you people are going to be the ones that's going to take the hit. So anyway, let's get a couple of precepts and we'll end it. And go from here to the book of Daniel 2. Because it's all coming together. And I pray that this man is the last president. I pray this place don't go another administration. For real, it's been enough of this. I had enough of this shit. For real, it's time for this place to fucking go down. You know, this shit has been up in power too long. It's like, okay, enough is enough. All right, and they kind of tell you wrong. And any scholar that have any type of working knowledge of how to do research, they will equate America being the modern day Roman Empire, along with the EU, European nations. But it says in the fourth kingdom, which we're in the fourth kingdom, Yahushua came on the scene during the fourth kingdom, and he's going to return on the scene during the fourth kingdom. It says, and the fourth kingdom should be as strong as iron, because they're military, man. It says, and for as much as iron breaketh in pieces, and subdue all things, and as iron breaketh in all these shall it break in pieces and bruise. And whereas thou sawest the feet and toes, part of potter's clay, part of iron, and the kingdom should be divided. And this is what we're witnessing. Okay, the iron and the clay is a mixture, because you have strong economies and you have weaker economies that's being upheld by stronger economies. Now, America, the reason why it's still such a powerhouse is because, for the simple fact, the dollar is the reserve currency, but the dollar is being devalued. Like, people are complaining prices are going up. Prices are really not going up, but the money is being devalued, which drives the prices up. Okay, a hot dog is not worth more than what it was 15, 20 years ago. It's just the dollar is losing value, which hence is inflation. And it says, and the kingdom should be divided, but there should be in it the strength of iron, right? Because the military, man, and you have other nations that's in partner with other nations, man. And it says, for as much as thou sawest iron mixed with miry clay, and as the toes of the feet were part iron and part clay, so the kingdom should be partly strong and partly broken. So this is what we're seeing. We're seeing a system that's being broken. Okay, they're at odds about who's going to control the hierarchy, what laws are going to pass, how we're going to continue to push forth policies that don't benefit the people, while you got another side of it saying, well, we need to push policies that benefit the people or act like it, but don't benefit them. So basically, they're fighting over the same solution, just different ways about going about it is really what you're seeing. Because overall, they have the same solution at the end of the day. Slave humanity with that RFID chip and put our people in a improbable place, meaning they want to kill our people off. It's all circumventing around getting the Israelites, man. They just trying to come up with different methods on how to do it. So you have think tanks among these corporations and these elites that come up with different methods on how to destroy our people. But at the end of the day, they're all going to be on board with this chip. Mark those words. All right. One last precept and we'll end it. Revelation 17 and 12. And it says, and the 10 horns which thou sawest are 10 kings. That's the European Union, which they say 28 nations, but it's really 10. It says, which have not received no kingdom as of yet, but receive power as kings 1 hour with the beast. And these have one mind, and they should give their power and strength unto the beast. Okay, NATO and the EU. And it says, and they should make war with the Lamb, which is Yahushua, and the Lamb shall overcome them, which proves that this is a system that's set up at the end time. Okay, this is talking about now. It says, for he is the Lord of lords and kings of kings, and they that are with him are called the chosen, which is the elect and faithful. And he said it to me, the waters which thou sawest, where the whore sitteth, which the whore is America, are peoples and multitudes and nations and tongues. Okay, because America, like you heard what J.D. Vance said, basically America is still fighting to be that leader of the free world over the European nation and NATO, because America is spearheading they're spearheading the benefactor, so to speak, of this man's kingdom through their military might and their U.S. dollar. It's really that dollar that keeps them relevant. But once that dollar go, they don't care about America. They don't even like Americans for real. But they have one thing in common, to fuck over you Jakes. And it says, and the 10 horns which thou sawest upon the beast, these shall hate the whore. And we see in the division, and shall make her desolate and naked, and shall eat our flesh and burn up with fire, because they're going to shoot those missiles over here. And it says, and the Most High have put in their hearts to fulfill his will, and to agree and to give that kingdom unto the beast, until the words of Yahweh be fulfilled. And the woman which thou sawest, that is that great city, which is America, which reigneth over the kings of the earth. Okay, so that's just where we're at in prophecy, man. As Revelation 17 goes into the destruction of Babylon, it says the doom of Babylon, which is talking about America, man. Now this chapter goes into history as well, slightly, but overall it's dealing with this current setup of this fourth beast. But with that, all praises and glory and honor is due to Yahweh Bashim Yahushai. Lord's will, you were edified. To the next lesson. Shalom.